Hey guys, welcome to another Treehouse Meeting, number 24. It's been a little while since we met last. The bumpy road of PC end of life and people version 6. It's been a bit chaotic, so but hopefully we can just look forward to the future now. And I'm really looking forward to just trying to settle in and get focused on my own things and move forward. It's been so annoying. So hopefully everyone's off BC now and still not trying to access sites, but we won't go there. So yeah, I mean, this topic of this treehouse is e-commerce, obviously, but feel free to talk about anything else, of course. I think it's kind of fitting because I think like a year or two ago in BC, you kind of segregated, this is an e-commerce site and these are my other sites. And I probably only had like 1 or 2% e-commerce sites. But I'm finding now, probably due to COVID as well, that every client wants some sort of e-commerce, whether it's a shopping cart or purchasing an event or selling courses or whatever. So I think it's going to become a really integrated part of most builds in some way or another. So I think it's really important to look at and really try and shape how that goes in Treeple. And I mean, already it is quite flexible. Like Aaron was saying, Shopify's, certain things you can't do, and it would have been good to do it in Treeple. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to how e-commerce is going to shape up. So yeah, that's my little spiel on that. So I'm happy to jump straight to Tim. Tim's got something exciting to show in terms of e-commerce. So
just give me 5 minutes because I have set up some kind of staging for the actual live e-commerce site, because I'm not going to show the stuff on the live site. Just notice that it's a version back of what I actually wanted to show you. By the way, that would be great if you could have staging on production sites, but I'm really trying to figure that out. And at the moment, because I really don't want to make a mistake to put something on production, which is supposed to be staging, and the other way around. So I try to fiddle a bit. Just give me 5 more minutes, Adam. Let's talk about, or maybe Aaron had a question about group products. Maybe anyone has an idea about that first, and then I'll show you guys what I've done. Just 5.
Yep, sure, Tim, no problem. Yeah, so happy to talk about anything else. If you have any questions or anything interesting they've done with e-commerce lately. I don't know if Aaron, you wanted to talk about those group things, if you still had something to say on that.
Oh, I'm just running Ajax calls on a filter list, and the group products work well on the first output, but as soon as you execute Ajax, it breaks out the group products from its parent. So I'm trying to figure out a solution here. So
yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. Because I think the Ajax is pulling from the master product list. So I'm working with filters. There is a tag called is group product, and it's true or false, but I can't really add that in there because that would mean that it wouldn't show on the first load. So I'm trying to sort that out.
Yeah. So you
probably something super simple, and I'm like totally missing it.
So you need some sort of way of reinitializing all your JavaScript once you've pulled that.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what the group products on the initial load is doing, if it's based on a JavaScript, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so a bit tricky. Yeah, I'm finding
Let me see
all the e-commerce events that people provided not long ago are really helpful in those sorts of cases where you need to sort of run e-commerce JavaScript, because a lot of the e-commerce stuff is JavaScript based. One of the problems I found is I think we need like an event for checking when the cart is ready or something that's happened in the cart, because it's hard to determine when the cart stopped doing what it needs to do, because every time you change something, it reprocesses shipping and all these sorts of bits and pieces. So it'd be helpful to have an event that says, okay, cart's done. Now you can do some stuff if you need to. That's probably
Agreed. I mean, I have a lot of custom forms that we calculate lots of different options with JavaScript, and I ran into that issue for sure.
Yeah, because there's so many different things that can happen to change the cart, so you have to look at everything.
Hey guys, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Oh,
Can I share my screen?
yeah, I'll just set that up now. Okay, should be right to go. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, I'll give you my whole screen because I want to show you first what I'm gonna show you. There's a couple of things I had to do with this particular project, and it was quite challenging because it's actually not out of the box. And the first thing is I have a very, well, like kind of unusual way of implementing discounts on those products. It's not the usual volume discount. It's like a discounts based on what kind of customer is logged in. If you buy a bunch of products which belong together, which are in the same catalog, but not only if they are in the same catalog, but if they are in kind of related catalogs, it's like quite messy. The second thing is that I've worked a lot with advanced CRM records because of the fact that the users have to log in and they have to confirm certain statuses. So that's all kept in advanced CRM records. Another way is that my client wanted customers to be able to download their invoices as PDF, which is not possible out of the box, but I found a solution for this. And then the combination of having a secure zone and eCommerce didn't quite work so well at the beginning. I had some trouble with user records with existing email addresses, or let's put it the other way. If a user wants to register and there is already a user record with that particular email address, Adam and me, we were trying out some things. I think we need to follow up on this again, but I found, or I have here, I can show you a safe way to check if an email address of a user who just wants to register is already in the CRM, and how to block that. So kind of live checking existing email addresses. In this use case, if a customer buys a product, this customer is not supposed to buy the same product again. So there's some checking going on with if the product is already in the shopping cart and if the product is already in the order list of that customer. And I don't know if you guys already did that in your project, but in the invoices I have to, or in this project, customers need to get, there's not only like the data from the order object, but also additional data from the products, like custom properties from the products which had to be implemented in this invoice layout. Yeah, I switch right over to the actual site. And I had to figure out something now. That's why I'm 5 minutes late, because I have implemented some site-wide properties to be able to switch off registration and shopping cart checkout. And that I did that on the live site just as precaution, because I wanted my client, if anything goes wrong, and some things went wrong like a week or two ago, that they basically can switch off the checkout process and the registration process. So this link here, which is like register, I can switch this off and on with a site-wide property they can access in the admin. The same with checkout. So if something's getting messy or like faulty data is coming in and I'm not available like immediately, the client can basically switch this off. That's something I can really recommend, actually. Okay, let's dive right into it. I have my list on the second screen, so I know what to show you. So the product is basically courses. It's medical courses for doctors who want to learn how to deal with ultrasonic or ultrasound equipment. And it's one of the leading agencies in Germany which is doing that. So basically all the doctors who have to pass certain grades in their training, they have to take one of these courses and to be certified. And that's also why it's so important that additional data that customers who come on this page, the additional data they give is very accurate, because it's not only ending up in a CRM here, it's also ending up on their papers they get to certify their certificates. So it's they can go back to the hospital and say they have like reached a certain degree, a level of their training. So that had to be very, very safe and secure. One thing I forgot, the data, like order data and CRM data on this page is exported via like a fake JSON feed to the CRM of the client. The client has their own CRM system, and I work together with the developer of that CRM. So the orders and the CRM data can all be exported from here. It's a one way, of course, can't be exported back into Triple yet. Maybe we can do this when we see what scope the API will have, which is supposed to come in November. But at the moment, it's a one way. Registration, every customer has to register before they can check out. And that's because in our case, it's really good that customers have to verify their email address. At the moment, checkout here is only with offline payment. So the customers get the invoice via email or via their account settings here, and they will pay via electronic funds transfer. There's no credit card checkout at the moment, and I can explain to you guys later why this is here in our marketplace in Germany at the moment. So the thing is, if you never receive the invoice, you won't pay it. So it's very important that the email address is working and that the customers can actually really receive emails from the platform. And I know that I've reading this a lot on Slack that this is not working so well for like some people, that users don't get emails from the platform. So in this case, it's really important that they do get it. So this confirmation process after signing up for a secure zone is quite important. So what's happening if at the moment I'm not logged in and I have a product in the cart and I try to check out, it will ask me to log in or to sign up. And the sign up page you can see is like quite a lot. It's not only the address and email address and post address, it's also like 3 different addresses they can give for the clinic, private, and if they want to have like a separate address on the invoice. And this is all managed in the checkout process. So in the checkout page, the customer can decide, do I want to use my private address on the invoice, or do I want to have like another address on the invoice? And here you can see this field is the email address. I'm not going through the whole registration process. I'm just showing the verification for pre-existing email addresses. At the moment, this field, you can see it's like the red border around it, which means that this email address already exists in the system and the CRM. So I just change it to one I'm sure it's not in the system, and it turns green, and I can continue with the registration. And this one is also a little bit of JavaScript, so it checks if the passwords are really the same. I think this is also not out of the box at the moment. It's just like, I think the registration is not working if you put in 2 different passwords here in the password field and the confirm password field, which is not very user friendly, because you would want to give the user like an immediate feedback if this is okay. So this turns green as soon as these fields are having the same content. So I already have a user here, so I log in. And I get a feedback here when I log in because like if you as a customer, if you're a doctor and you're on a special level of your training, like as an assistant in the clinic, you can get stuff cheaper on this web page, but you have to prove that. You have to give in like a piece of paper, which from the clinic, which says, okay, this person has this level here in the clinic. And this is basically reminding the customer that they still need to upload this piece of paper, which they can do in their account portal. So I can go there and show you this. So this is my account. This is the user's like user account. I've set up a dashboard here. I've set up like bookings, which no bookings yet. Then there's another module that they can download additional material after they've booked the course. The client can offer the customers additional PDFs for download, but only after they book the course. And that's why it's supposed to be exclusive. And that's why it's downloadable only here. Then updating user details, all the different addresses. And here I can give like these statuses like assistance and some other stuff here. And here I could upload my documents. Can actually try this, upload some random document here. So it's not reminding me like something random. Yeah, here we go. So now this is basically like disappeared from my dashboard. And if I change another status here, like I say, I'm also like this kind of assistance here, it will remind me again on the front page that I have to, on the dashboard, that I have to upload this. So now that I have the special status and I want to go shopping on the site, I go on one of the catalogs, which has like a bunch of courses, which are supposed to be cheaper if I buy all of them, all three of them. And even more, like even gives me more savings if I have the special status. So I go on here and I put this in a shopping cart. And you can see how this is changing here. Like I can't buy this again. When I click on it, I basically go to the shopping cart because I'm supposed to be able only to buy every product one time, because nobody can attend a course twice. And everybody has to book for themselves. So you can't book for another person. I have the other three courses here. I also put them in my shopping cart. And by the way, when the e-commerce module was still on version 5, all of this took ages. It was really slow. And now it's basically everything is like immediately. The rendering is really fast because there's lots of liquid on this product detail page. Okay, I'm going to the shopping cart and see what's happening here. I can see I have these products in my shopping cart. I actually can like delete this one because that's not important. And I see I have like these three courses here. And I get this discount, like 200 euros for the group and another 200 euros because I'm an assistant. I can also change this and I can say, oh, actually, I've been promoted, so I'm not an assistant anymore. I say no. And go back to the shopping cart. And I see I only get 200 euros discount now. and it's also showing up here and deducted from the total price. What's happening here is basically we are applying a hidden discount code. There's a hidden field for the discount code here. The disadvantage is that we can't use discount codes on this site. So if the client wants to give their customers like discount codes, that's not possible because we're using it for this kind of discount. But yeah, we needed to set up a discount code for every possible amount of discount, like including every kind of calculation in the shopping cart. So we started with, I think, 30 euros and ended with 600 euros and really put in discount codes for 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on. Well, it goes quick. So it's not that much of a work. Now, when the client, when the customer decides, okay, I've put all these 3 courses in my shopping cart, but well, I don't like the 3rd one, and I delete it. It's recalculating the shopping cart, and it's also deleting the discount, and there's no discount anymore. Okay, let's go to the checkout page. Now here I can decide what kind of address I would like to have on my invoice. And I can also change it here. I can say, like, at the moment it's the special address on the invoice, like separate address for the invoice. I say no here and save it. And I go back to the checkout. And now it's my private address here on the invoice. So the customer always sees, like in this white field here, what he will or she have on the invoice as actual address, which is also quite important because those customers want to have their money back sometimes. So they need special address on the invoice so they don't get in trouble. So I'm checking out now. And go back to my account page here. And I can see my booking right here on the dashboard and also here in bookings. And I made a little slide out here so customers can see what they have actually booked. And I can also show the invoice on a separate page. This is exactly the same layout which the customer also gets as in their email. With the advantage that on this page, I can also download the invoice as PDF. And this is also not out of the box with Triple, as you guys know. It's with a special service online API to create PDFs called Crowd PDF. And there's a free version, but you will have a PDF Crowd branding here. So on the live side, it's like, I think, $80 per year for 20,000 PDFs. So it's really affordable. So I have implemented that on the live side. So this little branding here doesn't show. And you can also see that I pulled data from the product module here to also show additional information about the products, like in this case, the location of the course and the dates of the course and all this kind of stuff. There was some hassle with calculating the right VAT, because when using discount codes, the VAT after applying the discount is not correct. Just as a reminder, if you guys working with VAT and using discount codes, you need to recalculate the VAT in liquid and not using the VAT property which is offered in the order data. What else can I show you here? Yeah, so far, any questions so far? I don't want to blab too much.
Hi, Tim. It's Shannon.
Hi.
Are you storing anything in the advanced CRM and having to pull that multiple times, or are you storing it in cookies?
No, I store this in the CRM. It's
Okay.
lots of advanced CRM records in the CRM. And it's also pulled here. And like, this is an example on this page here, which is a regular page. It's just like I've put the layout of the invoice email on a regular page, and I pulled data from the order object, of course. And I've used URL parameters here, as you can see up here.
Yeah.
I've also done some like kind of trickery with a special key here, because the problem is that this invoice page is not in a secure zone.
Yeah.
And so it's not really safe due to GDPR regulations here. But it has to be like that, because the PDF cloud-based PDF service here can't print the PDF from a page which is in a secure zone. It has to be a public page. They have to receive a URL and then produce the PDF from that URL. So I couldn't put this invoice right in the same secure zone like the rest of the account page. So I'm using this kind of key thing here, and I have a little algorithm in the background running. So this kind of key is always changing. It's not the same key for each invoice. It's a different key.
Yeah.
And the ID and the order ID, which is basically all you need is the order ID, and the rest of the data I pull from the order object. Yeah, Shannon, did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was great.
Okay.
I'm doing something similarly with a random key, with a random number generator, and I have ref key in my URL just like that. However, when I was building it, it was when, as you said, when you pulled more than one custom module or anything on a page, it was really slow. So then I started storing things in cookies, since I was using them on multiple pages. But I bet it would be faster now.
Was it version 5?
Yes.
Yeah, version 6 is really like, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
Yeah, but it's done and live, so I'm not going back, right?
Yeah, of course. Once it's working, like never change a working system. Wow. I'm always.
This customer rebuilds every 4 years or so, so I'll just, make a note, and we know we'll do better when we know better.
Yeah. One thing for you guys, there's also an option for customers to change their password. Obviously, we have in the account update form fields to change the password. But the flow is not very user-friendly, because if you remember, I have to give the old password, I have to give the new password, and I have to repeat the new password in the account update form. And basically, there is no live checking if you give the right old password and if you give like 2 times the new password, correct new password, like in the confirm password field. So, but which is not such a problem, because you can do this with JavaScript. You can check in the password field and the confirm password field if it's the same password. But the problem is the old password, the original password you want to change. And that's not checked on the front end. You can't check it on the front end if the customer is actually giving the right old password. So what's happening if there's a typo or something, if the customer is not typing the old password correctly and setting a new password, it's just not changed. So the customer might think, okay, I've filled in all the fields, password is changed, and comes back to the page with the idea in their head, okay, I have a new password. But actually it never changed because there was a typo in that field, old password. So we abandoned that idea to use the actual fields in the account update form, and just triggering here like the workflow you would do when you forgot your password. So if you click here, you, of course, you have to click here first. And then you get an email with a reset link with the 24-hour token to reset your password the old way. I find this a better way to do this because every customer who has a problem like that will call our client, and our client will usually forward that to us. And that's just unnecessary support work in this case. Okay, did I forget anything? No, I can only say that version 6, without version 6, I think this page would not work, simply not work, because there's so much Java, there's so much liquid on the product detail page and on the shopping cart page of checking all these different discount things. And I can show you a different discount because this was this kind of group discount and discount for special status. This is a discount if I book a course until a certain date. So this one here is 50 euros cheaper when I book it to the 30th of November. So when I check in here, put it in the shopping cart, I go in the shopping cart. It's checking like early bird discount, 50 euros and applying it. So, and this all works together, right? So if I go back and put another group in here, which I probably can't because I've already bought this one. So this one is giving me feedback already booked. Can't buy it again. I have to go on a different one, but I don't need to do it now. But if I have a different kind of a discount, it will also apply in the shopping cart together with this early bird discount. And yeah, and we had to check this like multiple times with all kinds of combination to be sure that it works and that we don't miss a certain discount code. Yeah, that's why we basically ended up with doing all the discount codes like in increment of 5 euros. So to be sure. Okay, guys. Any more stuff? Any more questions I can answer? Are there something in the chat?
Nothing in the chat yet.
Nope.
I had a question on the PDF generator, Tim.
Yep.
So ones I've looked at in the past seem to just use like the print engine of the browser or whatever, like a print engine to basically print the page to a PDF.
Yeah.
So as long as your CSS print styles are really good and you've got all that, that's how you can sort of control the look of the PDF. But have you found that this particular one you're using is different to that, or?
Yeah, this is basically not printing the invoice. It's really like giving a PDF as download. Like it's basically as if you have a link to a PDF you can download when you click on this one. So it's having this. It's not like it's not depending on the print dialog of your browser. Is that what you mean?
Well, not just how it generates the PDF in its own background. From what I've seen, most of them use the print engine to generate it, and then you can download the saved PDF that it generates. I was just hoping to find one that perhaps didn't use the print engine. Maybe there's no other way around that, but because I find that
I don't think they do that because if you go on the page, you can use multiple ways actually to convert HTML. It's an HTML to PDF API basically. You can do this the way I do it because we don't have an API ready on Drupal yet. So I use what's called save to PDF link.
Right.
And you have to implement like a link with certain URL parameters.
Okay, yep.
But maybe in the future we can also facilitate the API of this tool or use a different tool.
Yeah, okay, that one looks good. Yeah, I've just had a few problems in the past with when it uses the print because especially when you have multiple pages, it can really mess up. So that one looks good.
Yeah, that's also like I didn't want to go there, especially because I wanted to have the same like kind of feeling for the customer as if the PDF is really like downloadable from the platform as a file and not having to be printed through the browser first. So, and that's basically giving me that advantage because my client was all over me. They wanted to have PDF invoices, preferably sent by email. And I think we had this discussion multiple times in Treehouse as well. It's not really necessary from a legal point of view. I get lots of invoices via like in the email body and not as an attachment. But in this case, it's like, especially this kind of customers, they have to give their invoices to their clinic or to their employer, and they don't want to print the email with their email address in the top and additional data and give that to their employer. So they needed a document which doesn't have like email data on it. So, and that's basically why they really needed that PDF solution. And I'm glad that I found it here.
Could that PDF solution work potentially in like an email workflow where I'm sending a fancy email invoice, but then I'd also want to offer that option for the client to create a PDF in that email workflow? Would that be possible with this type of service?
Well, we would need to be able to add attachments to email sent by Triple, right? So all the autoresponder or workflow emails, I wouldn't know how to attach.
The link couldn't work from the email. Like I couldn't do exactly what you did on that page.
No.
Where they have the link up on top where they can create the PDF from the email.
Oh, wait. I think, yeah, actually, why not? Because you just have to you don't actually have to show the HTML page. You basically only have to put the link to the HTML page in the email. Yeah, I could try that.
So potentially that could, because I have a client that had requested something similar, and I didn't realize that was possible. But now that I see what you've done, it's got me thinking because I just formatted a nice email in HTML, and I told them they'll have to print it from the HTML, but this could be a good option for them if I could add it to that, where when the client gets it, they can actually create a PDF and right from the email. And then
I think that could work because the only thing you have to provide for that service is like an address with the actual HTML where the invoice is, and then this is printed. So I think that would work. Let me check for.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Okay, thanks.
Where is it? That's the URL, I think, here. I have to check this again. But I think that will work. Let me go into the account again and check for the link. So when I click on there.
Because my invoice they get by email almost looks exactly like this. They get it almost looks exactly like this, but in their email client. So that's why I was curious. I'm like, I wonder if I could add that.
The thing is, I don't know how the HTML to PDF link stuff works in detail. I think it's just grabbing the URL on the page you're on at the moment. I need to. I would recommend just go on pdfcrowd.com and check it out. Play around with it. It might be possible, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, so I stopped the screen sharing if there are not any more questions. Okay.
It looks amazing. There's so many bits and pieces in there. Must have taken forever to nut all that out and get it
I
all.
mean, you were with me on that, Adam. Remember when we were trying to figure out like the discount code population problem?
Yeah.
I mean, the story was that I was using jQuery to do that, like to auto populate the discount field with a particular discount code. And I had for some reason, two different jQuery versions on this page. I don't know why. I think something worked with one jQuery version and another thing worked with a different one. And then Adam had the brilliant idea just to use vanilla JavaScript, and that solved the problem, actually.
Yeah, I've done a few sites where you're pulling in like custom CRM fields, checking things, and pulling in their order statuses and looping through all those to check things. And yeah, it gets quite hairy, but it's fantastic.
The biggest problem actually was that kind of applying discounts to products which are in one catalog. I was also thinking about using the grouped products thing in Triple, but I had some problems with that. So now it's basically just I'm applying the parent catalog as a custom property to a product, and then from there on, stuff is checked via Liquid. And then in the last week before this page had to go live, the client came up with a brilliant idea that not only products which are in the same catalog should be discounted, but also products which are like, it's a 3-part course and they have the same 3 parts in 5 different catalogs. And they wanted to have the same discount applied if you take the first part of the course from the first catalog, the second from the second catalog, and the third from the 5th catalog.
Wow.
So I basically had to come up with a new level of checking and interrelating these kind of things. And wow, but it worked at the end. But it's a lot of Liquid, and it works like in a second, which is like kudos to the team, to the Triple team. The new engine, the V6 engine, and the PostgreSQL SQL and GraphQL really made a change that made a big difference.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, we had lots of problems because of it. We had to go through lots of like bug fixing because of that. But it was really that worth it, I have to say.
Yeah, I have a site that it was basically they sell classes, so people enroll in classes, but it's not like events. So I had to track the seats of the classes myself. So you had to loop through all the customers in the database to check what they're enrolled in, just to enroll one person. So even if it's one person logged in, you still have to loop through everyone in the database and all the classes. And that was taking like up to a minute to run a page in V5. And now it's just basically 1 or 2 seconds when a customer's logged in. I have an admin portal for the actual admin user, and they have to see everybody's data at all time, and that still takes about a minute to load, but still, considering how much data it's pulling in, it's pretty good.
That really, this whole discussion leads me to the limitations of the events module as it is. You can't use, you can't through JavaScript or even Liquid calculate different prices. All of the limitations like that, Adam, you were talking about is why you had to do a custom module and Tim had to use eCommerce. Do you think the events module is going to get there where it's usable?
I think maybe not. Maybe the events module won't get there, but I think all modules will be opened to be able to be payable, to be bookable, and all those sort of attributes we have with like eCommerce and events. I think that will probably come to all other modules. So in that sense, yes, it'll open up the possibilities. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So like right now, we still can't even pull bookings, right, by user.
Yeah, that's a bit of a little black hole, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, even just what Tim was showing, how someone is looking at the courses they've taken in the past, I can't pull that right now. Everything's built on events because I just assumed events would work like, like the BC did, like the BC version did. But I'm struggling now because I also have built the admin for my user, and she's like, I can't get the information I want. They want more than just an allocation, more than a head count.
Yeah. So if the event is a paid event, you can look it up through the orders because an order is created. But if they're not paid events, then there's nothing we can pull out.
Right.
I think.
Right. And they have a combination. Some are paid and some are free.
Yeah. And
then also, I think it was mentioned on Slack, the ability to say, no, you're not attending an event.
Yes.
For some organizations is important too.
Yeah. And that's what.
But, it just leads me to I don't know, part of me just wants to start everything from a custom module because custom modules are just so powerful. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, because when you set up a module, there's a section there that you can make it bookable, or I can't remember the word. So I think once they open that up, you can just plug these different core system functionalities onto modules, then you can basically do whatever you want. And that's what I had to do in the example I gave before, where people are booking classes, and I have to check. Yeah, they can cancel and they can get discounts and all that sort of stuff, and like cancel a class and then get the credit for that and then book it on another class. So yeah, I had to do all that myself with a custom module because events just couldn't do that. So,
Adam, how does it work when a custom module is bookable? Where is the allocation stored? Where can I find this?
That doesn't actually work yet. That's what I'm saying. Like if it becomes available, but yeah, I had to build that functionality myself just by custom fields and things like that.
I was doing this in Business Catalyst actually because the event module in Business Catalyst was not doing what I wanted it to do because there were no custom properties in BC for events. So I was basically using a web app, and users had to log in to book. And then they could also cancel by deleting. They would create a web app item when they book, and they could also delete the web app item afterwards, meaning they cancel the booking. And this was like really difficult for some clients because of the login process and the whole stuff related to passwords and things like that. I tried that with implementing a hidden sign-up registration thingy with a password generator in the background, so people wouldn't actually know that they're registering to a secure zone. But I don't know why, but that didn't work so well in the end. Is that
in Treehouse, or are you talking about back in BC?
No, I'm still talking about BC. And the reason why I actually was happy to have events in Triple like the way they are with the custom properties, that solved lots of problems for me. And I didn't like the events module in BC. That gave me lots of problems.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Scott has a question in the chat. Events, anyone have any strategy for one event purchase tracking multiple trainee receipt emails? Do you want to elaborate on that, Scott? I'm not quite sure what the requirements are there.
Yeah, we've got a site where you can essentially the boss can buy seats for all of his employees, but we've got to send individual items to each of the seats. So our strategy was just to extend the schema of the event to allow for multiple seat name and email addresses, and then do it off of events. But I'm wondering if anyone else has run up against that, where they've got to track the individual seats separate from the purchaser.
Yeah, interesting use case. I would probably either look at sending the data out, like via Zapier or something, to some other service that can send multiple emails, or maybe you would collect the initial event booking with all the people, but then in the background do a loop and actually submit multiple event bookings. You're actually getting multiple event bookings in the system, and each one's getting an email. That would.
Well, that's interesting approach. I hadn't considered that.
But whenever I think of doing that, it's, there's a lot of room for failure if one of the forms break. I don't know. Yeah.
Thanks for those comments.
One question is: everybody on version 6.2.1, or are still partners who have 6.1.8?
On 6.1.8. Or no, actually, yeah, I'm on 6.1.
Is it the e-commerce side? Is it the big side, or is it like smaller?
It's a smaller e-commerce site, like basic store products and customization.
The whole version update is a bit like all over the place. Like some partners have like 6.2. We had it very early, a little bit too early to my personal taste. And others still on like the old version.
I was under the impression that all sites had now been upgraded to version 6. Maybe there's a process that's missed some, or maybe they're holding back some for certain reasons. I'm not sure, but I thought that last announcement was all live sites were updated to version 6.2.1.
I think most of the bug fixes would apply to Pro or e-commerce, not so much. If you have an essential page on 6.1.8, I don't think you will have lots of a difference.
Yeah, sure.
So does anybody know something about the new online editor, which is supposed to come in 6.3? Is it going to be the same one like we had before, or is it like, do you know anything, Adam, like about that? Or is it an upgraded version, or?
Don't know a lot on that, no. I think basically we'll probably see the same thing come, but there's plans for it to be a lot better. But yeah, I don't really have much information on that, sorry.
I was having a problem with my mute button earlier. Sorry about that. But you were asking about sending the multiple emails. The only solution that we've come up with so far is that we have a system where someone is applying to get a license from the state to be a licensed geoscientist, and they have to have references. And so they add a reference, and it's a custom module. And then I build out the send email button for each reference, and they send it from themselves. So I just build a mail to with the full subject line and everything's populated with liquid code, and they can send. And so the problem that occurs, right? So I have an option A and an option B. Option A is it launches the default email service that you're using, but not everyone has a default email service. So then option B is copy and paste this. And so I have a copy and paste functionality and paste this into an email and send it to them. It's clunky, but it works.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting solution.
Yeah, thanks for that idea.
Tim, I just remembered you were talking about, you had the function where it checked the email address, if the email address was present. And you said to do that safely. How are you doing that? Because obviously it's Ajax lookup.
I can show the code quickly. I basically, I was using code I got from a template I bought at BC Gurus, to be honest. Yeah. So I was happy to have this, and I was just exchanging the module data tag in there with one of our triple tags, and that worked quite fine. Awesome. I hardly had to change anything. I was really like flabbergasted when I saw this. Shall I show it? I mean, it's like, I don't know if it makes any sense. It
was interesting because basically you would look, you've got a page set up that you send the parameter to check their email, but
it's basically, wait, I have to go on it. It's late here, guys. I'm sorry. It's already past, already 11 p.m. here. Let me check.
Like doing it safely, because obviously if you have something like that, someone could, if they figure it out, they can start looking for people's details, or if they're in the system. Not a huge issue, but yeah, I'm not sure if you're.
That's past my bedtime by a couple of hours. Holy moly!
Would have to do try and error, I think. But give me 5 minutes. I'll look at the code and come back with an answer.
That's okay. I was also going to ask you about advanced CRM records. Thinking. I find it sometimes it's a bit difficult working with advanced CRM records because you kind of have to look up each field group individually, and you often need to know which field you're after. Otherwise, you have to do like crazy loops for all of them. Not sure if you ran into those sorts of issues, Tim, or anyone else working with advanced CRM records.
Sorry, I heard my name. Are you talking to me?
Just in general, but it was a question for you as well for later. You're working with advanced CRM records?
I'm checking out my code here. Sorry.
You tuned out.
Adam, I am working with advanced CRM records for one of my membership sites, and there's actually a bug that's I've got to figure out. If you call, so I have basically a membership, and it can have up to 2 members. Okay. And so membership is a custom module, and then each member is in the CRM, and I can select the CRM person through the data source property that's attached to that membership. But you can't, I get a liquid error if I try to look up the details for the second person.
Okay.
It's a weird kind of situation, but I did find a workaround. I don't remember what it was right now, but it's working really well. I really like the advanced CRM because it is the solution around, for me, in the solution to group people together.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, they're amazingly powerful. I just find how you have to look them up gets a bit tedious, because it would be ideal if you add a custom record to a contact, that when you look up that contact, that you just have all the fields there. But of course you don't. You have to specifically look up the custom CRM group, and then you have to look through all the fields or know the particular field you want to pull out. It just gets a bit tedious if you've got a lot of custom fields.
Yes.
Okay, shall I share my screen again, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
I'll show you the code. So there's basically an include with this JavaScript code here, which is in the registration form, right underneath the field where you put in the email address. And this JavaScript is calling an HTML page via like Ajax. It's Ajaxing that HTML page using a URL parameter. And this is this page. It's basically the email address you just type in the email address field is used to look it up here in the component, in the CRM contacts component, and rendering it here with this code, like, and the size filter. So it's basically the JavaScript code is just checking if this here is 0 or 1, because if it's 1, then the email address obviously already exists and the record already exists. But if there's 0, if that results in 0 here, this field, the record doesn't exist because it couldn't filter anything out of the CRM.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like a privacy problem. I wouldn't know how to. I mean, obviously you can see the JavaScript code and the source code, and they could try to call with a random email address to check if it's there or not. But that's all. Basically, that's the same you could do with the registration form as well. You can type in all kinds of email addresses and try to check if it's there.
Yeah.
So if you do a brute force attack, like testing all email addresses, you would come up with a list of addresses which is available. But I think that's on every site of this type, right? Or
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure if there's a way around that. That's why I was interested in how that was working. But yeah, probably not so much of an issue in this case.
Hopefully, because we already had problems with GDPR on some pages here. Like, it's there are special people here in Germany who, like, if you think some pages are violating GDPR, you can like call the authorities and then they come back. Right. And my client had an issue like that before, so we really need to be careful.
Yeah. Right, guys. Well, I probably will have to head off pretty soon. But yeah, anything else? Anyone wants to discuss anything at all? I'm quite happy to bring that up, e-commerce related or otherwise.
Well, I've got a general comment to make. I see some familiar names and faces on this call, and I did want to express our thanks for everyone's participation in Slack and forums and that kind of thing, getting us through the last few humps there. The last few weeks of we missed the champagne cork event because we were still scrambling on one site, but I do want to express our appreciation for everyone being so collaborative and active in the forums. And I would be lying if I told you that we did it all ourselves. I think we did it with many of your help. So thank you for that. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, awesome, Scott. Yeah, I think it's almost good how the end of life forced us all in this situation, forced us together and to work together. It's yeah, it's good. Hopefully that will continue on. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to head off now. Tim, is it fine if I just leave you the host and you can carry on? Anyone wants to? All right.
Fine. Whoever wants to stay a bit. Bye, Adam.
All right, awesome. See you guys later. Bye.
See you.